The sky over the slave market was dark and full of smoke. Lights flashed. Loud voices shouted numbers. Creatures from many planets stood in a wide circle, bidding on cages. Inside the cages were young alien girls, scared and shaking, waiting for someone to buy them. Every few minutes, the auctioneer slammed his metal stick down. "Sold," he shouted. Another girl, gone. Another price paid. Buyers laughed, clapped, and dragged away their new slaves. But one cage at the very end was different. Inside, crouched low in the shadows, was a girl with long, wild silver hair. Her skin was a soft lavender shade, but covered in scars. Her red eyes glowed in the dark like burning coals. Chains covered her wrists and ankles. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just stared. The crowd avoided her. Some backed away. Whispers filled the air. "That one's crazy," someone said. "She bit her last master's throat," another whispered. "They call her untamable." The auctioneer cleared his throat. "Last item of the day," he yelled. "Half price, rare bloodline, strong genes, a fighter." No one raised a hand, not a single bid. Minutes passed. The auctioneer's voice became dry. "Anyone. She's healthy, strong, trained, still nothing." He looked nervous now. One credit chip. Silence. The auctioneer sighed. "Fine, 0 starting bid." Laughter came from the crowd, but no one stepped forward. Then a quiet voice said, "I'll take her." The entire market went silent. A human man stood near the back. He wore a plain coat, boots covered in dust, and no weapon. He looked average boring even. But he stepped forward and placed one small credit chip on the platform. The auctioneer blinked. "You, human?" The man nodded. "Yes." "You're joking," someone laughed. "She'll kill you before morning, dead in 5 minutes." The human ignored them. The auctioneer gave a nervous chuckle. "Sold." To the human. He handed him a remote and pointed toward the cage. "Unlock her yourself." The man walked toward the cage. Inside, the alien girl didn't move. She stared at him like a wolf watching prey. The human unlocked the gate. Slowly, without fear, he reached forward and unhooked her ankle chain. She didn't strike. She didn't growl. She just watched. He spoke softly. "You can walk. I won't pull you." No answer. The crowd watched in silence as the alien girl stepped out of her cage. Her movements were sharp, tense, like someone ready to run or fight. She stayed 2 steps behind the human, head low, eyes scanning everyone around. Whispers grew louder. "She's planning to kill him." Poor fool. But nothing happened. They left the market. Hours later, they reached the human ship. It wasn't big or fancy. Just a quiet cargo vessel parked at the edge of the dock. He opened the door and let her in. Still, no chains, no orders. He just pointed to a soft seat. "You can rest here," he said. "There's food inside." The alien girl didn't respond. She sat, her back to the wall, knees close to her chest. She hadn't spoken a word. He didn't push her. He walked to the kitchen and started cooking something simple. The smell of warm soup filled the air. She watched him the whole time, silent, alert, eyes cold like ice. Finally, he placed a bowl near her. "No poison," he said. "You don't have to eat, but it's warm." Then he stepped back. After a minute, she touched the bowl. It wasn't a trap. She tasted it slowly, carefully. The human didn't smile. He just nodded and went to the front of the ship to prepare for takeoff. Behind him, the alien girl kept watching. This human was different. No orders, no shouting, no whip, no collar tug. Why? Why didn't he chain her? Why did he give her food first? And why? Did her heart feel something strange for the first time? She didn't understand. But deep inside, For the first time in years, she felt something small move inside her. Not fear, not anger, something else. Hope, and that scared her more than anything. The ship's door closed with a soft hiss, sealing them inside. The lights were dim. The hum of old engines echoed through the metal walls. The human walked ahead, slow and calm, not looking back. The alien girl followed, but always with distance. Her eyes moved like a hunter's, always checking corners, shadows, exits. Her bare feet made no sound on the steel floor. He showed her a small room, a soft mattress, a folded blanket, a clean towel. "This is your space," he said, voice low. "No one will enter without your permission, not even me." She stared at the bed like it was a trap. He didn't force her. He left the door open and returned to the control room. The ship lifted off the ground and rose into the black sky. Stars blinked outside the windows. She didn't sit. She stood in the corner, arms folded tight, watching the stars. Watching him for hours. He offered her food, again bread, stew, water. She took nothing. She just stared at him, unreadable. Later, he said softly, "I don't know your name, but I won't give you one. You'll speak it when you're ready." No reply. She stayed silent for days. She didn't eat, didn't rest, didn't speak. But she always followed him, never more than 5 steps behind. Sometimes he tried talking about old human stories, about the stars, about music. She listened but never answered. At night, he gave her warm clothes. She held them but didn't wear them. When he slept, she crouched by the wall, never blinking. One night, the silence broke. The human was cooking soup in the small kitchen. A pot boiled too fast, and hot steam sprayed his hand. He cursed, pulled back, burned. She moved. Quick as lightning, she was there. She grabbed his wrist and pulled it under cold water. Her touch was firm, but not rough. Her eyes locked on his hand, not his face. He stared at her, surprised. "Thanks," he whispered. She didn't respond at first. But then, softly so soft, he thought. He imagined it. She asked, "Why?" He blinked. "Why what?" Her voice trembled. "Why no chain? Why not control me?" He looked at her carefully. "Because you're not an animal." She frowned, unsure. "That's what they said I was." "They were wrong," he replied. "You're just ... hurt." Silence again. She let go of his hand and stepped back like she had touched fire. But something had changed. The next morning, the food was gone. She had eaten quietly while he slept. Later, he found the blanket folded neatly. The towel was wet. She had cleaned herself. He smiled. That evening, she wore the soft clothes he gave her. Still barefoot, still silent, but something was different in her walk. Not like prey anymore. Not like a beast. She sat across from him while he worked on wires. Her eyes didn't burn with anger. They were ... curious. He didn't look up. "I used to fix things," he said. "Machines, engines, people too, sometimes." Still, she said nothing. He added, Cancer took her fast. That made her blink. First time. She was strong," he continued, "kind. She said I looked lost without her." "You do," she whispered. He looked up, stunned. She turned her head, a little embarrassed. "Sorry," he smiled. "No, thank you." More silence, but not cold now. It was ... warm. As the stars moved outside, she finally spoke again. "My name," she said, voice low, "was Reza." Before they took it, he paused. "Can I call you that?" She nodded once. Then she asked, "Yours?" "Marcus," he said. "Marcus," she repeated, testing it. "Strange word," he chuckled. "You'll get used to it." She tilted her head. "I don't trust you. Not yet." "I know," he said, "but I don't hate you either." He looked into her eyes, those fierce red eyes once filled with rage, and now saw something new. Not peace, not safety, but the beginning of both. She stood up and said, "I'll sleep now." "Good," he said. She turned, walked to her room, and this time closed the door behind her. Marcus sat alone for a while, looking at the bowl she had emptied, and he smiled. Because the untamable girl had spoken, and the war in her heart had started to quiet. The ship drifted through space, silent like a ghost. Stars blinked outside the windows, cold and distant. Inside, Marcus worked at the console, eyes heavy from long hours. But he didn't want to sleep, not yet. He glanced at the closed door. She was behind it. Reza, the untamable girl, had finally spoken, eaten, even slept on the bed he gave her. He didn't know what she'd do next, but something was changing. That night, he went to his own small room and shut the lights. But Reza could not sleep. She lay stiff on the bed, eyes wide open, heart racing. Soft blanket felt strange, too warm, too kind. The silence was unfamiliar. No shouts, no chains, no fear. Her fingers clutched the blanket tightly. She hated how soft it was. Still, she fell asleep, and then came the dream. In her dream, she was back in the dark cages, cold floors, metal walls, whips cracking, voices screaming, hands dragging her away. Fire, pain, blood, she cried out. Her body twisted under the blanket, arms flailing. She kicked the wall. Sweat ran down her face. Then her voice broke the silence. "No," she screamed. "Don't take me! Don't!" Marcus jumped awake. The scream echoed through the ship. He grabbed a light and rushed to her room. He didn't open the door. He knocked once, gently. "Reza." No answer, only heavy breathing. "I'm here," he said softly. "It's okay. You're safe." More silence. Then the door opened a crack. She stood there, face pale, hair messy, sweat on her forehead. Her hands shook. She didn't look like a beast now. She looked like a child, lost in a storm. "I had a dream," she whispered. Marcus nodded. "I know. I hate dreams." "Me too." She didn't step back. She didn't ask him to leave. She just stood there, breathing fast. Marcus didn't move closer. "Would you like tea?" he asked. Reza blinked. "What?" "Warm drink. Helps with sleep." She frowned. "You offer tea after nightmares?" He smiled gently. "Sometimes, or a stupid joke." Reza looked confused. He turned to walk away. "Come if you want." A minute later, she sat at the small kitchen table, still silent, still tense. Marcus handed her a small cup of steaming liquid. She sniffed it. "Smells like plants." "It is plants." She took a sip. Her eyes widened. "Sweet." "Just a little honey," he said. "Sugar's rare these days." She drank slowly. Her fingers stopped shaking. After a while, she said, "I killed a man in my dream." Marcus didn't flinch. "Do you think it was just a dream?" "No," she whispered. "It happened?" He nodded. "I've had those dreams too. You kill people." "I was a soldier," he said. "Long ago, before I became a mechanic. I've done things I regret." Reza looked at him. For the first time, her eyes weren't just hard, they were sad. "I never had tea after," she said. He looked down. "Maybe that's why it took us so long to heal." Silence fell between them again, but it wasn't heavy, just quiet. She finished the tea. "I'll try to sleep again," she said. "Can I leave the door open?" Marcus nodded. Of course. She stood and walked back to her room. That night, she didn't scream, but she did wake up once. When she peeked out her door, she saw Marcus asleep on the floor outside her room, wrapped in a blanket. He hadn't said anything, hadn't knocked again, hadn't asked to come in. He just stayed close. She stared at him for a long time. Then she whispered, barely a breath, "Why are you like this?" He didn't hear her, but somehow, just asking the question helped her fall asleep again. And for the first time in years, her dream was not about cages. It was about stars. And a quiet man who made tea after nightmares. Morning came slowly on the ship. There was no sun, only the slow ticking of systems and the glow of distant stars. Marcus sat near the engine panel, fixing a loose wire with steady hands. He hummed a quiet tune, something old, something human. Behind him, the door opened. Reza stepped out, barefoot, eyes tired but calmer than before. Her silver hair was brushed back with her fingers. She didn't speak, but she didn't need to. Just her presence meant something had changed. She sat on the floor beside him. Not close, not far. He didn't look up. Sleep better. She nodded. Any more dreams? No cages, she said. But the collar still burned. Marcus stopped working. He turned toward her. The collar? He asked softly. She reached up and touched the thick metal ring still locked around her neck. It had no lights, no chains attached, but it was still there, tight and cold. They said it would remind me who I belonged to, she muttered. You don't belong to anyone, Marcus said. She gave a bitter smile. Then why is it still on? He stood and walked over. Let me try to cut it off. No, she said quickly, moving back. If it's damaged, it explodes. Marcus froze. It's rigged. She nodded. Only they have the key. Marcus stared at the collar. Small symbols were etched into the side syndicate property markings. A tiny red light blinked every 10 seconds. We'll figure something out, he said. Reza didn't reply. Later that day, she didn't sit in the shadows. She walked around the ship freely, touching walls, looking out windows. She watched him work on old tools, helped him hand over wires, and even smiled once when he dropped a wrench on his foot and shouted a made-up curse word. Humans are strange, she whispered. Thank you, he said with a grin. But when night came, her hand returned to the collar. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't breathe. She sat on the floor, holding her knees, feeling like the cage was still inside her. And then, something snapped. She stood up fast, heart racing. Without a word, she left the room, walked down the narrow hallway, and pressed the emergency hatch open. A gust of cold air hit her face as she stepped into the outside dock. She looked up at the stars, vanished into the blackness. Alarms flashed. Marcus woke up, checked the screens, saw the open hatch. Reza, no reply. He ran to the deck, panic burning in his chest. The ship was docked at a small refuel station floating near a dead moon. No guards, no patrols. He searched every hall. Gone. He sat in the empty hallway, head in his hands. Had she escaped? Had she run from the freedom she didn't believe in? 2 hours passed. And then there was a knock at the hatch. Marcus ran to the door. Reza stood there, hair wild, hands bloody, eyes shining with a strange light. In one hand, she held a small black cube. In the other, blood-covered metal key. He stared. What did you? They had one, she said, voice flat. One of the syndicate officers was drinking at the fuel bar. I followed him. Marcus opened the door. She stepped inside. He didn't ask how she got it. He didn't ask why she came back. He just looked at the key. You're sure it's for your collar? She nodded. He said it was. Before he died, they didn't say anything else. Together, they sat in silence. Marcus held the key. He reached for the lock at the side of the collar. His hands were steady, but his breath wasn't. You ready? He asked. Reza closed her eyes. If it explodes, at least I'm not dying in a cage. He turned the key. A small click. The red lights stopped blinking. The collar slid loose. It hit the floor with a hollow sound. Reza didn't move. Marcus reached over and gently took the collar, walked to the back of the ship, and dropped it into the furnace. The fire hissed, and the metal melted slowly. He came back, Reza was still sitting, eyes closed, breathing steady. "You're free now," he said. "No," she whispered. "Not yet." But closer. That night, she didn't sleep with the door cracked open. She left it wide open. And for the first time, she slept without touching her neck. But outside, far beyond the stars, syndicate signals were already searching, and someone had noticed the missing key. Someone who wanted her back, alive or in pieces. The next morning felt strangely peaceful. Marcus cooked breakfast while Reza sat at the small table, legs folded under her, watching the steam rise from the pot. She ate slowly, still unused to warm meals, but she didn't hide in corners anymore. Sometimes her eyes softened when Marcus spoke, like she was learning how to be someone new, someone not chained. But peace never lasted long in the galaxy. A sharp alarm suddenly echoed through the ship. Reza froze. Marcus dropped the spoon. That's not good. The warning screen turned red. 3 dots appeared on the radar, then 6, then 12. Ships, small ones, fast ones, and all headed toward them. Reza's heart dropped. Syndicate. Marcus checked the signatures. His face hardened. Worse, bounty hunters. Reza stood slowly, claws sliding out from her fingertips. "They came for me. And they'll take me too," Marcus said. "They won't leave a witness." That was true. Bounty hunters had no rules. No mercy. No limits. She knew their methods. She had seen them drag people out of hiding places, chain them to ship floors, and sell them to the highest bidder. Her breath grew heavy. Marcus checked the window. "We don't have time to fly away." They're landing. Reza stepped beside him. For the first time, she didn't hide behind him. She stood shoulder to shoulder. "I fight." Marcus looked at her. "I don't want you hurt." She smirked a little. "I heal fast." Then the ship shook. Boots landed on the hull. A voice boomed from outside. "Surrender the girl. Hand over the human. No one needs to bleed today." Reza laughed cold and sharp. "Tay lie." Marcus grabbed a small shock baton. It was all he had. "Stay behind me." "No," she said firmly. "Not again." The door blew open. Smoke filled the hallway. Figures stepped out, armored hunters with red helmets and electrified nets. One pointed at Marcus. "Get the human. He's worthless, but valuable for questions." Reza's eyes glowed bright red. They fired nets. Reza moved. She was a blur of silver and lavender. She leaped off the wall, twisting midair, claws out. The first net missed her by an inch. She landed on one hunter, slamming him into the ground. Metal cracked. His helmet bent under her claws. Another hunter shot a stun bolt. She kicked the bolt back with her foot, sending it into a third attacker. Marcus ducked behind a crate, heart racing. "Reza, I'm fine," she hissed. 2 hunters rushed toward Marcus. Reza's body reacted before her mind did. She jumped in front of him, claws slicing through their weapons. Sparks flew. One hunter swung a heavy club. She caught it with her bare hand and snapped it in half. "Touch him," she growled, "and I'll break your bones." One hunter laughed through a broken mask, blood dripping. "You think you can protect a human? You think he cares? He bought you, same as the others." Reza froze for half a second. The hunter smirked. "He'll sell you when trouble comes." Reza's eyes darkened. "No," she whispered, voice trembling. "He didn't chain me. He didn't starve me. He didn't beat me. She stopped. The hunter lunged. Marcus grabbed a wrench from the crate and smashed it into the hunter's helmet. "She's not yours," Marcus shouted. "Ka, and you don't get to talk about her." Reza looked at him, surprised, almost breathless, then turned back to the carnage. More hunters boarded, for at once, too many, even for her. Marcus grabbed Reza's arm. "We need to fall back." "No," she said. "If we run, they follow. If we hide, they break walls." Only one choice left. She stepped forward. Marcus grabbed her wrist. "Reza, don't." But she looked back at him, eyes soft. "They hurt me for years," she whispered. "Now they want to hurt you. I can't allow that." Before he could stop her, she charged. What happened next was not a fight. It was a storm. She moved like a shadow with teeth. Kicks cracked armor. Claws tore through weapons. A scream echoed as she lifted a hunter and threw him down the stairs. Another fell to her elbow. Another to her heel. They tried to trap her. They failed. They tried to shoot her. She dodged every bolt. In 5 minutes, 7 hunters lay unconscious or broken across the ship floor. Her chest rose and fell fast. Her hair stuck to her face. Blood, some hers, mostly theirs, covered her arms. Marcus stepped toward her carefully. "Reza." She looked at him, scared of what he saw. A monster, a killer. A weapon, but he didn't back away. He reached out and wiped a streak of blood off her cheek. "You protected me," he said softly. She swallowed, lips trembling. "I didn't want you to fear me." Marcus shook his head. "I fear the ones who hurt you, not you." Reza's breath shook. Something warm spread inside her chest. Something she'd never felt. Not hunger, not anger. Something else. Something dangerous. But behind them, the radar beeped again. More ships. Bigger ones. The real threat was just arriving. And this time, the Syndicate elite were coming themselves. The ship was quiet, again, but not peaceful. Bodies of bounty hunters lay tied in a corner, groaning. Sparks crackled from broken panels. The lights flickered. Smoke drifted through the halls. The air smelled like blood and metal. Marcus cleaned a cut on Reza's arm, wrapping it gently. She didn't flinch. She just sat still, breathing slowly, eyes looking far beyond the walls. "They'll send more," she said. "I know," Marcus replied. "They won't stop. I know that too." Silence. She looked down at her hands still stained. "I was made to fight." "That's what they said." "That's why they took me." Marcus didn't answer. He knew she wasn't asking anything. She was remembering. "I was born in a quiet village," she whispered. "Mountains, trees. My people were peaceful until the Syndicate came. They wanted strong bodies, fighters. I was 12, her fingers curled slowly. They gave me the name for Cadelta. They tattooed it on my back. Said names made slaves soft. Said we should forget them. Marcus said nothing. She looked up at him. "But I remember my real name, Reza. My mother whispered it in my ear before they dragged me away. It's a strong name," Marcus said gently. "No," she whispered. "It's not enough." Marcus blinked. "What do you mean?" She stood up, walked to the front panel. Outside, the stars were still shining, but in the distance, a dark shape was moving. A ship, a large one. She placed her hand on the glass. "I need a new name," she said. "Not their name. Not the one they took. My name I choose." He watched her carefully. "Do you know what you want to be called?" She nodded slowly. "Kira," he repeated. "What does it mean?" She turned around, eyes calm but sharp. "In my language, it means free wind, one that no cage can hold." Marcus smiled. "Then Kira it is." But outside, the enemy approached. The Syndicate had arrived. This was no bounty hunter squad. This was a war-class carrier built to crush rebellions, to burn villages, to remind the galaxy who ruled. Inside the ship, Marcus moved quickly. He rerouted power, activated shields, prepped emergency escape pods. Kira watched him. "You're planning to run?" "No. I'm planning for both of us to live. They'll chase us forever." He turned to her. "Then we'll keep flying. But what if they catch us? Then I'll make sure they never touch you again. She stared at him. You would die for me. He smiled sadly. I didn't buy you. I saved you. And I'll keep doing it. Kira stepped forward. Her hand touched his chest lightly, almost afraid. No one ever said that to me. I mean it, he whispered. Just then, the ship shook. The enemy had arrived. A voice crackled over the comms. Marcus Gray. Surrender the asset. Your ship is surrounded. No escape. Kira's face hardened. I'm not an asset. Marcus turned off the comms. Then, let's show them that. They moved to the weapons bay. It wasn't much, just old plasma charges and a single turret. Kira picked up 2 curved blades. They felt familiar in her hands. Not like tools of pain, but like keys to freedom. You don't have to fight, Marcus said. I'm not fighting for revenge, she replied. I'm fighting for you. It's for my name. Another tremor. Red lights flashed. The syndicate was docking. Marcus handed her a communicator. If things go bad, no, she said. No plans to leave me. He nodded. She stepped toward the airlock. Before it opened, she whispered to herself, I am not for Cadelta. I am not a weapon. I am not yours. The door opened. She walked into the smoke and light. She didn't scream. She didn't roar. She just moved. Kira, the free wind, was now a storm. And the syndicate was about to learn that they had made a mistake. A terrible one. The airlock exploded with smoke and sparks as Kira stepped into the docking tunnel. No armor, no shield, just her. The syndicate soldiers didn't hesitate. They rushed forward in tight formation, full gear, electric whips, guns glowing. Kira didn't wait. She sprinted, fast as lightning. The first soldier raised a stun rifle, but before he could aim, she slid beneath him, slashed his knees, and kicked his helmet so hard it cracked in half. Code for Cadelta is loose. One soldier screamed, I'm not for K. She roared, flipping over the next 2, landing like a shadow made of fire. Behind her, Marcus watched from the bridge. The monitor screens flickered, showing the battle in rough angles. Her body moved like water, graceful, wild, unstoppable. But there were too many, dozens. He bit his lip, hands tight on the edge of the console. The ship shook again. Boarding charges hit the rear door. They were coming from both sides. Marcus rushed to the engine room. If he could overload the power coil, he could destroy the ship from the inside, a last resort. But if he did that, Kira would die too. He stopped. His fingers trembled. Could he do it? Would she want that? Then a voice echoed in his ear. The communicator. Marcus, she said, breath heavy. I'm here, he replied quickly. They're closing in. Too many? I'll come help. No, she said sharply. You're the only one I trust. You don't die here. He choked back his words. Neither do you. Silence. Then promise me something. Anything. If I don't make it out. Don't remember me as a killer. His voice broke. I'll remember you as the one who gave me my life back. Another silence. Then, I'm going to end this. Kira turned off the comm. She let go of the blades. She raised her hands and stepped forward. The syndicate soldiers hesitated. One stepped ahead. Code 4, Cadelta, surrender. Your owner requests full containment. Kira laughed softly. He's not my owner. You are a tool. A syndicate weapon. Stand down. I have a name. They raised their guns. I am Kira. Then she did something they didn't expect. She smiled. And opened her palms. A pulse exploded out of her body, bright, glowing energy shaking the tunnel like thunder. The soldiers screamed, falling back. Marcus saw it from the screen. His heart stopped. Her body glowed with white-blue light. He had seen it once before, an old file. A buried secret. Kira wasn't just trained to fight. She was genetically altered. She was a bomb. A living fusion core. If triggered, she could take down an entire building, but it would kill her too. Kira, no. He shouted into the communicator, but she didn't reply. The soldiers backed away now, panicked. She's activated fall back. Fall back, lights exploded. Walls cracked, and then silence. Everything went dark. Marcus sprinted through smoke-filled halls. He didn't care about the heat, the damage, the alarms. Tia, Kira, Tia. He stumbled over bodies, broken guns, pieces of armor. The syndicate squad gone. Tia. He found her lying near the outer hall. Eyes closed, still glowing, but breathing. Kira. He dropped beside her, hands shaking. She opened one eye weakly. Didn't explode. He let out a breath between a laugh and a cry. You scared me. Scared myself, she muttered. He held her gently. Her skin was hot, but not burning. Alive. She was alive. You beat them. No, she whispered. I stopped being theirs. He pulled her close. They'll send more. Let them, she said. This time, I'm not alone. She leaned her head on his chest. And then, soft as wind, she whispered, mine. He blinked. What? You're mine, she said again, voice small but sure. They chained me, caged me, tried to break me. But you, you never asked for anything. You gave. You stayed. You saw me. He didn't know what to say. She smiled faintly. So now, you're mine. He smiled back. Then you're mine too. They stayed like that in the dark hallway, wrapped in silence, as the stars blinked above. Not master and slave, not soldier and weapon. Just two broken people who had finally found something no one could sell. Each other.